T-Bird fans, we welcome you to a brand new edition of T-Bird Talk. I'm Cloud County Community College Sports Information Director, Toby Nosker. It's National Championship Week, as 4 members of the Cloud County Community College wrestling team have qualified to compete in the 2025 NJCAA National Wrestling Championships, taking place this Friday and Saturday at the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. This year's National Championship Wrestling qualifiers are sophomore Easton Boone at 165 pounds, sophomore Mac Chambers at 174 pounds, freshman Micah Cauthers at 184 pounds, and freshman Jayden Berry at 285 pounds. On today's edition of T-Bird Talk, we'll have an opportunity to visit with 2 of those national qualifiers when we will sit down with Micah Cauthers and Jayden Berry. The Cloud County Community College Women's Indoor Track and Field program will have a total of 14 student-athletes compete in the 2025 NJCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships, happening this Friday and Saturday in Lubbock, Texas. Cloud County is ranked number 2 in the latest United States Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association Track and Field Rating Index. The T-Birds claimed the 2025 Region 6 Indoor Championship title on February 23rd in Pittsburgh, Kansas, finishing the meet with 175.5 points with 9 region championships and 6 runner-up finishes. Last year, Cloud County totaled 14 top 8 finishes on their way to a 4th-place team finish in the 2024 NJCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships. The Cloud County Distance Medley Relay Team won the event in 2024. All 4 relay members are back in 2025. Sophomores Mercy and Gomchob, Rafiata Nuhu, Nanto Ube, and Invini and Chike. The team enters this year's national meet with a 3rd best time of 12:06.51. The T-Birds 4x800 meter relay team is ranked 1st overall with a time of 8:52.30. Team members are in Chike, in Gomchob, Ube, and freshman Amanda Kotam. Cloud County has also qualified its 4x400 meter relay team for the Indoor National Championships. The team of Ube, Nuhu, and freshman Nani Panu and Mamono Jallo is ranked 3rd in the field with a time of 3:44.77. In Chike, the women's high point athlete of the meet at the Region 6 Indoor Track and Field Championships and the reigning Kansas Jayhawk Community College Conference Track Athlete of the Week has also qualified to compete in the 800-meter run, the 1-mile run, and the 1,000-meter run. In Chike collected 3 individual first-place finishes at the region meet, including winning the 1-mile run with a time of 5:19.60. In Gomchob and Katam have also joined in Chike in qualifying for the 1,000-meter run. In Gomchob and Katam will have a busy weekend, as the 2 have also qualified for the 600-meter run at the Indoor Nationals. And Gomchob has the 5th best time entering the race at 1:36.09, while Katam has the 11th best time at 1:37.98. Ube was named the 2025 Region 6 Track Athlete of the Meet after recording region titles in the 600-meter run and the 800-meter run. Ube will compete in the 800-meter run at the national meet, which she enters with the 2nd best time at 2:10.58. Also on the track, Nuhu and Panu have qualified in the 400-meter dash with times of 54.72 and 59.73, respectively. Jallo will represent the T-Birds in both the 60-meter dash and the 200-meter dash. Jallo laid claim to the 200-meter dash title at the region meet, crossing the finish line in 24:05 to place 1st overall. She later added a runner-up finish in the 60-meter dash in a time of 7.38 and enters the national meet ranked 1st overall with a season best time of 7.3. Sophomore Chinessa Davis recorded a runner-up finish in the 60-meter hurdles at the region meet. Davis has the 4th best time entering the national meet at a time of 8.54. Davis and sophomore teammate Cordelia Williams will compete in the high jump. Davis is coming off a 1st-place finish in the high jump at the region meet, clearing a height of 4 feet 11 3/4 to take the region title. Williams placed 3rd in the event at a height of 4 feet 11 3/4. Also in field events, sophomore Brady Medina has qualified for indoor nationals in the pole vault for the 2nd straight season. Medina finished 4th overall in the pole vault at the 2024 Indoor National Meet at a height of 11 feet 2 1/4 inches. Sophomores Vivica Addison and Margarita Sala will take part in the weight throw. Addison finished in 10th place in the weight throw at the region meet with a toss of 45 feet, 6 inches. A pair of freshmen, Talia Lehnert and Carly Colgren, will represent Cloud County in the pentathlon. Lehnert earned a second-place overall finish in the pentathlon at the region meet, while Colgren finished 6th overall. Lehnert enters with a season-best score of 3,075, while Colgren has a season-best score of 2,432. The Cloud County Community College men's indoor track and field team will send 7 athletes to compete in 8 events at the national championships. Last year, Cloud County had an impressive national performance, finishing in 7th place overall as a team, including winning the 4x800 meter relay national title. Freshman Aziz Ben Brahim will compete on the national stage for the first time in 3 events. Ben Brahim enters the competition with the 4th best time in the 600 meter run and the 1,000 meter run at times of 1:19.02 and 2:25.40 respectively. He also has the 7th best time in the 800 meter run at 1:52.29. Ben Brahim was named the 2025 Men's Track Athlete of the Meet at the 2025 Region 6 Indoor Track and Field Championships. Ben Brahim had 3 top 4 finishes in the region meet, securing a 2nd place finish in the 1,000 meter run, a 3rd place finish in the men's 800 meter run, and a 4th place finish in the 600 meter run. Freshman teammate Barafa Abdulaziz will also compete in the 600 meter run as well as the 400 meter dash. Abdulaziz is coming off a 6th place finish in the 600 meter run at the Region 6 Indoor Track and Field Championships with a time of 1:20.9. His best 400 meter dash time is 49.45. Freshman Maury Jope and sophomore Trey Collins will both represent Cloud County in the high jump. Collins finished 2nd in the high jump at the Region 6 Indoor Track and Field Championships with a leap of 6 feet, 6 1/4 inches. Jope cleared a height of 6 feet, 4 1/2 inches to finish 4th overall in the event. 2 T-Birds, sophomores Josh Shelley and Jaron Aron, will compete in the weight throw. Shelley placed 3rd overall at the Region 6 Indoor Track and Field Championships with a throw of 52 feet, 8 inches. Aron finished in 9th place with a toss of 48 feet, 1 inch. Sophomore Bradley Nkosi will compete in the 60-meter hurdles. Nkosi ranks 16th in the event after he earned a 3rd place finish at the Region 6 Indoor Track and Field Championships with a time of 8.10. Sophomore Coy Binky will take part in the heptathlon this weekend. Binky has a season-best total of 3,897 points. The T-Birds head into the national meet ranked 24th in the latest United States Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association National Track and Field Rating Index. This year's indoor meet is being held March 7th and 8th at the Sports Performance Center in Lubbock, Texas. The 2-day Indoor National Championship meet is set to begin at 9 a.m. on Friday. Coming up on today's edition of T-Bird Talk, we talked to 2 members of the Cloud County Community College wrestling team who are getting set for NJCAA National Wrestling Championship competition this weekend in Council Bluffs, Iowa. We'll be joined by Jayden Berry and Micah Cauthers. This is T-Bird Talk.
Are you a Kansas or Nebraska high school senior who's thinking about your next steps after high school? If so, you qualify for Cloud County Community College's $500 Early Bird Scholarship. All you have to do is visit campus before December 13th and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you get a $500 scholarship guaranteed. So come visit Cloud and see why our students are Cloud proud. On your visit, you'll see our campus, meet with an academic advisor, and get a chance to have all your questions answered. Set up your campus visit today by giving us a call at 800-729-5101 extension 212 or visiting us online at cloud.edu/admissions.
This week on T-Bird Talk, an opportunity to visit with 2 members of the Cloud County Community College wrestling team who have qualified to compete in the 2025 NJCAA National Wrestling Championships, which will take place in Council Bluffs, Iowa, March 7th through the 8th at the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. 4 T-Birds in total will represent Cloud County at the national tournament. They include returners Mac Chambers at 174 pounds, and Easton Boone at 165 pounds. And this year they're going to be joined by freshmen Micah Cauthers at 184 pounds and Jayden Berry at 285 pounds. And both Micah and Jayden joining us here today, and I appreciate the two of you taking time to visit with us. And first, I guess, congratulations on the opportunity to qualify for the National Wrestling Tournament. We'll talk more about that honor and kind of some of your thoughts going into Nationals in just a second. But Micah, let me start with you, and let me get to know you. First, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Chase County, Kansas. It's actually in Cottonwood Falls, but I mean the town is just known as Chase County because we pair with a neighboring city as well. Not
too far from where I was born in Council Grove, Kansas.
Okay.
I grew up around the Emporia area, a lot of family down there. Tell me about wrestling. How did wrestling enter the picture for you?
So no one in my family had ever wrestled before, and my brother was a big basketball fan. I just never got into it. I liked being more physical, and so I just got into wrestling somehow. It was my football coach actually had mentioned it, and I said, why not? Because I didn't play basketball. I had a bunch of free time, so when I was 8 years old, I went to the wrestling room, and I just fell in love ever since.
And you mentioned the physicality, but what is it specifically about the sport that you feel like it's hung with you for so long, it's become something you're so passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, nothing beats the feeling then at the end of the match getting your hand raised. I mean, that's what we do it for. I mean, we want to go out there, we want to dominate, we want to get our hand raised.
Tell me a little bit about the journey then throughout the sport of wrestling, and at what point did it click, or did you realize, hey, maybe this might be something that I can do, post high school at the next level?
Yeah, so throughout kids club, I would say I was a little above average, and I know I definitely wanted to keep wrestling in junior high and high school. I had a pretty good junior high career. High school was when my body didn't agree with me a lot of times. I was injured, basically all throughout high school, and I knew that I had more to give. And I was stuck between doing football and wrestling. But football-wise, I feel like I had accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. In wrestling, I knew I had more to give to the sport, and I just couldn't give up on it yet. So I decided that wrestling was what I was going to end up doing.
So at what point did conversations happen with Cloud County Community College? Tell me a little bit about how you learned of the program here, Coach Smith, and kind of take me through the recruiting process for you.
Yeah, so after football season is when I started looking at everything. I started looking at where I could go to play football and where I could go to wrestle. I was originally thinking about dual sporting, football and wrestling, and I was set on that. But then I felt that would be too much on me. So then actually Coach Smith had reached out to me on Twitter and was telling me kind of a little bit about the program, and he wanted me to come up on a visit. So I came up on a visit, and it was the best visit I'd been on. I liked the community of Cloud, and especially Coach Smith. He's really what brought me here.
What was the visit like? What really stood out to you?
So obviously how everything's set up. It's not come from a small school. It kind of fit me because I knew I didn't want to go to a big school, and Cloud it kind of reminded me of home. And then I just went throughout everything, and on the way home I told my mom that I think this might be the top contender, and a month later or whatever is when I ended up committing.
Are you happy with that choice?
100%.
Jayden Berry with us as well. So Jayden, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Kansas City, but I went to school in Olathe, Kansas. So all that's kind of together anyways.
So tell me a little bit about your wrestling background. At what age did you start competing in the sport?
I started my freshman year. My high school coach, I told him I had hoop dreams, so I tried out for basketball first. And turns out he got me cut from the basketball team to join the wrestling team. And next thing you know, I've just been wrestling for 4 years.
And so that's not a long time. A lot of the guys that I interview, or a lot of the wrestlers, and Micah kind of talked about it, grew up, in kids wrestling in different clubs and finally getting involved in their high school. You were kind of much later to the game than most, right?
Yep. I didn't even know kids club was a thing till I got to high school. I just thought everyone started in high school. But, yeah, I just kind of picked it up fast and hit the ground running.
What is it that you feel like clicked for you, or what is it about the sport that you're so attracted to?
It's the grind, and when you're out there on the mat, it's just you and the other person. You don't have to worry about a team or anyone to back you up.
So tell me a little bit about the recruiting process then for you. How did Cloud County enter the picture, and were you always desiring maybe to be able to continue on post-high school, go compete at the college level?
Yeah, I mean, just like my teammate Micah, I was thinking between the two of football and wrestling, but Coach Smith, he had a really good visit. He texted me all the time, and he just seemed like he cared, so that really pulled me into Cloud.
Do you feel like you made the right choice?
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk a little bit more about the transition as far as athletics is concerned and what it's like taking the leap from high school to college and the competition that you guys have had to go up against throughout the course of this 2024-2025 season. But just from a personal standpoint and in life and academically, making the move from high school to college, what has that transition been like for you? Being out on your own for the first time, adjusting to a new community, a new school, and obviously the student aspect of a student athlete's important. Tell me a little bit about your studies and how you feel like that's gone for you.
I would say not bad. It was rocky at first, but I mean, getting used to change is always going to be a rough start in the beginning. But I would say overall, it hasn't been the worst experience.
Have you found that you have a support system that exists here at Cloud that people, want to see you do well, want to see you succeed?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my teammates and coaches, they're all on me and stuff. And, I mean, shout out to Zoe Mers. She's always a big help, too. So, yeah, I have a big support system here.
Micah, for you, what's that transition been like, separate from wrestling, but just everything else that you guys have adjusted to throughout the course of this year for you?
Yeah, so, I mean, I was excited coming here. I had a Walmart in my town, and that's something that I didn't have back home. So, I mean, that was definitely a plus. I could go get whatever I needed right then instead of having to travel like 25 minutes out of my way to go do something. And school-wise, I mean, academics hasn't really – it's not too hard on me. I kind of pick things up fast. So it's been pretty smooth. Classes haven't been bad. So I think I'm getting along pretty well.
Let's talk about the wrestling side of things. And obviously, successful seasons. You've qualified for nationals. We'll highlight that in just a moment. What has the transition been like for you, though, as a wrestler? The season's much longer, at the college level than it is in high school. It takes a lot more of your time. It's a huge commitment being a student athlete at this level. Micah, how have you handled that transition?
Yeah, so in high school, we're kind of used to our first match being that warm-up match. But here in college, I mean, there is that warm-up match. You go out there and you're going against a solid guy. And, I mean, that's kind of been the hardest part is you have to be ready to go right away. And everyone's here for a reason. Everyone's good, or else they wouldn't be here. So, I mean, you have to go out there and give it your all right away, because if not, then, I mean, it's not going to turn out very good for you.
Jayden, again, you don't come in necessarily with all the experience that most of these guys have that have been wrestling for practically their entire lives. Has it been an adjustment for you having to take on a higher caliber of talent than maybe what you even ran against in high school?
Oh, yeah. Heavyweight wrestling in high school is way different than in college. Like, I don't think I had to touch my knee one time in high school to get a takedown, but here I am, like, just reforming my game and, like, shooting and everything. So I would say it's a big jump. It's a big difference.
You said you like the grind. It's obviously a grind, and I don't know if people fully understand or appreciate, what all student athletes go through at the college level. But for you guys in wrestling, I mean, the daily workouts, the pressure in the practice room, the need to have to try to maintain certain weights, that kind of thing. And then, at the JUCO level, you are a fairly unique sport. Track and field, cross country kind of experiences some of this as well, but you're not just going up against JUCO talent, but you'll run into kids from NAIA, D2 universities, those sorts of things at some of the open meets and tournaments that you've been to. And so there may be a guy that you run into that's had 4 years of experience, and it's your first month on the mat, here at Cloud. What has that been like for you, and how do you feel like you've handled the pressure of those situations?
It's been really different, like wrestling grown man, like right out of high school. I could say like they're much stronger. It's just a whole different feeling than what it was in high school. But you gotta clear your mind from that and just understand that you're gonna have to wrestle. Doesn't matter.
Micah, for you, what's that experience been like?
Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't put against the top-notch competition in high school like I've been thrown in to at college. I mean, at one tournament, I wrestled an Iowa State guy, a Division I guy, and I was nervous going out there. Like I was like, oh, I can't perform bad or whatever. But then, like getting into the match, like the second period, I was like, all right, this isn't terrible. I can compete with this guy. So that's when I kind of started picking it up, and you have to have confidence going out there, because if you lack the confidence, it's gonna show, and then again, it's not gonna turn out good for you.
Who do you practice with? Who's your practice partner in the wrestling room?
Yeah, so I have a couple different practice partners. Jayden, he's one of my practice partners. DJ, I go with Max sometimes. I can go around with Easton. But, I mean, we really go through the room, and we'll go with everybody. I go with Coach, both coaches, actually. It just gives us a good feel about like what we can see.
How important is it, or how key is it to the success that you have quality practice partners that are pushing you on a daily basis in the practice room?
No, yeah, that's what you need. Everyone here was more than likely the best guy in the high school room. So, I mean, everyone wants to do good. Everyone wants to compete. So, with everyone with that like mindset, it's gonna get us better. It's gonna make us better. Like, I mean, we're kicking each other's butts at practice because we're trying to get better, and we'll use all our strength. And that's good. That's what we want to see, because that's what a match is going to feel like.
Jayden, what's that like, having to spar with Coach? Coach Julian Smith's got quite the wrestling background himself. A bigger guy, so he likes to take on those bigger competitors. Does he push you in the practice room?
Oh yeah, it's rough wrestling him. He's really good. I give him that. But, I mean, he helps me get better technique-wise. I mean, he showed me everything. He pushes me. I mean, I just couldn't ask for a better coach at my weight class to help me out.
You mentioned, Micah, the sophomores that are going to be going down to nationals with you, Mac and Easton. And I know everybody, probably even you guys as well, has had to deal with some injuries, been beat up a little bit. That's part of the grind that we were talking about of a wrestling season. But Micah, how much have you guys leaned on those sophomores this year that have been around? They've gone through the conference schedule. They've been to some of these tournaments. They know what nationals is like. Mac and Easton were there a year ago. So how much have you had a dialogue with them, and how much leadership have they provided to you throughout the year?
Yeah, so actually me and Mac had wrestled twice in high school. He got the best of me both times. So coming in here, I knew that he had a year of experience of college, so I knew that he was someone that I could look up to at kind of. So just seeing how he prepares himself, how he goes through a practice. I mean, that's what we want to be like. Mac had a pretty successful year last year. Same with Easton. So, I mean, those are guys that we want to look at. Those are guys that we want to model after. So, I mean, it's good to have guys with experience. And even DJ, I'll be wrestling with DJ. And if I do something that maybe isn't correct, he'll help me on the spot and tell me maybe try this or maybe try that.
So, Jayden, let's kind of talk about the season as a whole. How do you feel like you've competed to this point in the year?
I would say all right. I mean, it took me a while to really ramp up and qualify for nationals, but I mean, as the season kept going on, I picked it up, and yeah, I feel like I started competing better.
You wanted more of that success early?
Oh yeah. I was thinking I was going to have that success, but college humbles you. The grind, as long as you keep your mind down, you'll keep going at it.
Do you feel like you learned maybe even more than you would had you have had that success early, because you had to continue working on things like technique, plugging away and making sure that, hey, I haven't had the success yet, but I want to find it by season's end?
Oh, yeah. I learned so much. I've been in positions I've never been in on the mat, and I'm kind of glad it was rocky at the beginning, because now I feel like I'm more prepared and more ready to go to nationals.
Micah, for you, kind of take me through your season. How do you feel like you've fared throughout the year?
Yeah, so my season, it hasn't been terrible. Obviously, there's been some ups and there's been quite a few downs. But each loss, you have to take it as something to grow from. And I mean, that's what I've been trying. I go back and look at my matches and see, what did I do for him to be able to do this to me? So I kind of break it down after a loss, and I just take it so it can help me better how I do further down the season. And so far, I found success in that.
And I know everything that's happened throughout the course of the year. The season started back in early November. And it was all building to the trip that you guys recently made in mid-February to Pratt, taking part in the South Central District Tournament. And the results there is what gets you qualified for national competition. Now, I know each of you finished in 6th individually, did not end up wrestling your final matches of the tournament, but at that point you knew that you had qualified for nationals. And so, Micah, I'll start with you. Kind of take me through your trip down there to Pratt in the South Central District tournaments, and how did you feel like you fared down there?
Yeah, so my first match was actually against someone who I wrestled earlier in the season, and I mean, I'm not to say that it was easy, but it wasn't too challenging in that match, so I knew coming in that it shouldn't be a difficult match to start off. So I got through that match pretty easily, I would say. And my next match was actually against someone who had beaten me before, and I wanted that match. I did, but to come down, he ended up beating me again, so I knew if I wanted to qualify, I had to win my next match. And this match was again against someone who I wrestled. Everyone who I wrestled at Pratt, I wrestled before in the year. So I had to wrestle a Pratt kid, so it's his home. I mean, it's his home field basically. So it was definitely a slow match. It was a 1-to-1 match going down the last 20 seconds. And he took a bad shot, and I just capitalized off of it, and I was able to get a takedown in like last second. And then talked with coach, because after I won that match, I had qualified. Talked with coach, and it just wasn't smart. It wouldn't be the best idea to continue wrestling, just because 3rd through 6th you get thrown in the bracket no matter what. So talked with coach, didn't want to risk anything. I already qualified, so just wanted to keep it there.
Jayden, kind of take me through your tournament run. How did you feel like you wrestled?
So I would say I did pretty good. I mean, I pulled the number 2 kid in the nation first match. I wrestled a pretty solid match there. So lost. Got kicked to the backside, and then I wrestled a Barton kid. I majored him. It was a pretty good match. And then I wrestled a northeastern Idaho kid, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, during the match, I smacked my head on the wood because the mats had too much separation between them. And I smacked my head on the wood, and I was like kind of out of it, but I was already up by like 2 points or something like that. So I had to push through, and I got the win. Ended up getting a late takedown. And yeah, I mean, I would say I had a pretty good tournament that day.
When you knew that you had qualified for nationals, what was your reaction? What was the overall feeling for you?
It took a while since I hit my head, but as soon as I came to, I was pretty happy. I was pretty psyched about it.
Was that kind of the goal for you this year?
Yeah, it's a goal. I mean, we start going at August as soon as we get here. So, I mean, to grind that long, you want to reach your goals and, make it to nationals at the end of the year.
Micah, what does it mean to you to be a national qualifier? What was kind of your emotions of the day?
Yeah, so, I mean, I know that's what I wanted that. So I worked every day just because I know I want to be a national qualifier, and I knew if I put in the work, I was going to. So I just continued to grind, put in the work, and then it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was expected, but to me, I expected myself to get there because I knew the work that I had put in, it was going to pay off, and it did.
It feels like you guys are constantly on the move, constantly going. You come out of the South Central District Tournament, now you have a 3-week break before you head in to nationals. Is it a lot to think about? What's training and preparation and everything look like since the tournament down in Pratt?
Yeah, so, I mean, you cannot think too hard on it 3 weeks out, or it's just going to be in your head. You're going to be caught up in your head. I mean, what you really need to worry about is getting yourself healthy and getting yourself better. Not necessarily about the competition, but just going to competing and giving it everything you have. Because, I mean, like Jayden said, we've been out here since August, so we want to use everything we've got throughout the year to take it to the national tournament. But you can't focus too heavy on what it's going to be like 3 weeks out, because, again, you'll get too caught up in your head.
Jayden, what have you been focusing on in the practice room in the days leading up to nationals now?
Just technique and staying healthy and getting our minds right, just getting prepared as much as we can before nationals.
Have Easton and Max said anything to you guys about what the national stage is like? I'm sure you've been at some big tournaments before, but do you kind of have a sense of what you're going into or what the atmosphere is going to be like?
Kind of. I mean, obviously they don't want to psych us out, so there hasn't been really too much talk about it. I mean, yeah, we have an idea of what we're going into. I mean, we've both been to pretty big tournaments in our career. So, I mean, again, you don't want to psych yourself out with what you're going to be going into. I mean, it's just another tournament, and you want to compete your best at just like every other tournament that we go to.
Let me close out with each of you with what I do each week, which is our final 4 questions. So I'll ask 4 questions of you. We'll throw them to each of you. Micah, I'll let you start first. But kind of along these lines, the psyching out, the mental game. You guys have been on this grind for a long time now. The season, as I said, started back in November. Obviously, practices, early season workouts, everything has been going on for many months since you arrived on campus. And it's all built up to this. At this point in the season, what's the hardest thing? Is it the mental game and the mental side of things, or is it the physical nature of the sports? And are you so beaten down where you guys are physically? What would you say is the most challenging aspect for you right now?
I mean, we should all be conditioned this far down the line. I mean, again, we practiced since August. So I think the main thing is mental. You can't get burnt out. You have to just come into practice, grind, get better. But you cannot be in your head. I mean, everyone's banged up. We've been at it for quite a few months. Everyone's going to be banged up. You just got to stay out of your head and just wrestle.
Jayden, for you, what's the toughest aspect, the mental side or the physical side?
Definitely the mental side. I mean, I view wrestling as like a game of chess. I mean, it's off of action and reaction. So, I mean, if you're mentally weak and like just not all the way there, your head's not in the match, it's always going to be a rough night and a rough match for you.
Your training, I'm sure, has been quite intense. As I said, I know you guys have to focus on, weight cutting and where you are physically, and really hone in on that throughout the course of the season and even in the months leading in to the season. No matter what happens in nationals, the season comes to an end then. You probably get a little bit of a break. Jayden, is there a cheat meal? Is there something that you're most excited about doing that, hey, I don't have to be as intense, as focused? I might be able to cheat for a day or two here.
Oh yeah, I got one, but...
What's on the menu?
What's on the menu?
Yeah.
I'm going straight to Chipotle. I'm going straight to Chipotle and grabbing 2 bowls, and I'm finishing both.
Micah, for you?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty big crumble cookie fan. So I'm probably going to go to Crumble, get the whole lineup, and you're not going to see the box the next day. It's going to be in the trash.
I got to start traveling with you guys and eat now. We got to start.
Yeah.
I can do some Chipotle and Crumble cookie. Micah, throughout your entire career, what has been your most memorable experience on the mat? Your favorite moment, favorite match? What stands out for you?
Probably have to go back to the kids club. We went to this pretty big tournament. It's one of the biggest tournaments that we went to all year. It's called Battle of the Belt, and there's a bunch of people there. I mean, you're in big brackets. As a kid, it's overwhelming almost. And no one from my wrestling club had ever won the belt. No one had ever got first place there. And I went in there with the mindset that I was going to get first, and then I ended up winning the belt, and I was the first in our school history to do so. So that was pretty exciting as a kid to do.
Jayden, for you, is there a memorable moment that most stands out in your time wrestling?
I would say my senior year, my semifinals match to go to the finals. I wrestled the number 2 all-class guy in 6A. And, I mean, I beat him. I just was surprised. So, I mean, I will forever remember that.
And maybe the most memorable moment still to come as you're heading to nationals in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So let's close out there. Jayden, final question. What's the goals at nationals?
Oh,
what do you want to accomplish?
To be the champ, for sure. not going down there for fun.
Micah, for you, what's the goal?
Exactly, just what Jayden said. I mean, you want to be the champ. I mean, anything less from being the champ, it's kind of. I mean, we've worked so hard. That's what we want to leave is with the championship. So, I mean, that's what all of us are looking for. All four of us are looking at being the champ. So, and we're gonna do whatever it takes. We're gonna put our body on the line. We're gonna do everything it takes to try and be the champ in our weight class.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
I would say I am. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I want to wish the best to the both of you as you head to Council Bluffs, Iowa to represent Cloud County Community College in the 2025 NJCAA National Wrestling Championships, March 7th and 8th. This year's national tournament taking place at the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. 4 wrestlers will be competing for Cloud County. Again, freshman Micah Cauthers at 184 pounds, Jayden Berry at 285 pounds, and then a couple of sophomores, Mac Chambers at 174 pounds, and Easton Boone at 165 pounds. Micah, Jayden, I appreciate your time and best of luck at Nationals.
Thank you.
Are you a Kansas or Nebraska high school senior who's thinking about your next steps after high school? If so, you qualify for Cloud County Community College's $500 early bird scholarship. All you have to do is visit campus before December 13th and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you get a $500 scholarship guaranteed. So come visit Cloud and see why our students are Cloud proud. On your visit, you'll see our campus, meet with an academic advisor, and get a chance to have all your questions answered. Set up your campus visit today by giving us a call at 800-729-5101 extension 212 or visiting us online at cloud.edu/admissions.
My thanks to Cloud County Community College freshmen Jayden Berry and Micah Cauthers for joining us this week on T-Bird Talk. Both Berry and Cauthers, 2 of the 4 participants that will represent the Cloud County Community College wrestling team at the 2025 NJCAA National Wrestling Championships in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Berry is competing at 285 pounds, Cauthers at 184 pounds. Also competing for Cloud County will be sophomores Easton Boone at 165 pounds and sophomore Mac Chambers at 174 pounds. This year's NJCAA National Wrestling Championships will be held March 7th and 8th at the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. We'll be talking more about the National Wrestling Championships as well as this weekend's Indoor Track and Field Championships next week on a brand new edition of T-Bird Talk. We're also going to be starting our conversations with members of the Cloud County Community College baseball and softball teams as their seasons well underway as we make our way into the spring months at Cloud County Community College. And you can follow along each week by listening to T-Bird Talk. New episodes of T-Bird Talk drop every Thursday, so make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. T-Bird Talk is a production of the Cloud County Community College Athletic Department.